The movie, My Fault, begins with Noah and her mother, Rafaela, packing their things. They're getting ready to drive across the country to move in with Rafaela's new husband. Noah is not paying attention to her mother. She's busy reading a book. Rafaela tries to reassure Noah that this move will be a new start for them. Noah complains about being alone and having to change schools. She doesn't want to go to a fancy school paid for by a stranger. Rafaela tells her to get used to it because the stranger is her husband. They arrive at a mansion where Will, Rafaela's new husband, is eagerly waiting for them. Noah ignores them and goes to get her luggage. Will tries to bond with Noah, but she remains cold. She explores the mansion and is amazed by its wealth. Later, her best friend calls, and she complains about the mansion's extravagance. While talking, she meets Nicholas, who teases her about having a boy's name. He compliments Noah's freckles and calls her sis. She warns him she's not his sister. Just then, their parents walk in, excited to have met. She goes back to her room. Her friend Becky, who's been on the call, asks if Nicholas is attractive. Noah calls her a pervert and says she didn't even look at his face. Later, they all go out to dinner. During dinner, they learn that Noah likes intellectual sports. Before dinner ends, Nicholas says he has to leave early for work. He's an intern at a law firm. On the way home, Noah argues with Nicholas, saying he drives recklessly. He mentions that Noah's mom must love her to put up with her attitude. Noah scoffs and questions if he knows anything about a mother's love. This angers Nicholas, and he tells her to get out of the car and drives off. Noah wants to call a cab, but her phone is dead. Soon, a man stops and insists on giving her a ride. She agrees and tells him about Nicholas leaving her on the road. The man mentions Nicholas must be eager to get to a party. He says there's no party without Nick and warns her it's a gang gathering. At the party, Noah sees Nicholas kissing many girls and is shocked. She follows him and punches him when she reaches him. He tells her to leave, but she threatens to tell his father about his true behavior. He warns her to stay out of his way and walks away. As he leaves, a lady approaches Noah, and they almost hit it off immediately. At first, Noah thinks the lady is with Nicholas, but she denies it, saying it was Mario, the guy who brought her to the party, who told her about Noah. The girl introduces herself as Jenna after Noah complains about not being able to see her best friends and boyfriend's stories. Jenna tells her to forget about them and try to enjoy the party before giving her a handkerchief so Ronnie and his gang won't bother her. Ronnie gets one of his boys to offer Noah a drink. She accepts it but notices there's rum in it, so she returns it. The guy keeps pestering her to take the drink when Nicholas intervenes, pushing him away to leave. This annoys Noah, who reminds Nicholas that they agreed to have nothing to do with each other. She tries to take a sip from the drink but Nicholas slaps it away, saying it's spiked. Soon after, Noah starts feeling dizzy from the drink, so Nicholas drives her home. Despite her mumbling, he manages to get her home safely, carries her to bed. The next morning, Noah asks Nicholas about what happened the previous night. He mocks her, saying a lot happened. When her mother walks in, she asks where Noah was the previous night. Her mother says she texted her, saying she was at Jenna's place watching La La Land. Her mom thanks Nicholas for introducing her to his friends and for finally settling their differences. Later the next night, Nick goes to the race with other racers, but Noah also attends with Jenna. Nick sees her and gets distracted, almost losing the race. Luckily, his competitor's car dies at the last minute. His gang celebrates his win. Sadly, at the same time, Noah gets a picture message of her boyfriend and best friend in a compromising position. This annoys her, but Jenna comforts her. The race continues, and Noah starts enjoying herself, even kissing a random guy. She gets more compromising pictures of her boyfriend and friend, but did not care. While she's kissing a guy, she tries to picture it as revenge for her boyfriend, but Nick suddenly appears and stops them. She tells him not to scare everyone who approaches her, and he scolds her for drinking without care. She explains she just wanted a photo. He mocks her for trying to make Dan jealous before snatching her phone and seeing the compromising pictures. Nick asks if she'll go home if he gets her the picture she wanted. She doesn't promise, but he kisses her anyway, takes the picture, and tells her to wait in his car while he gets Jenna to take her home. As she waits in the car, she texts her boyfriend, sending him the picture of her and Nick before ending their relationship. Feeling daring, Noah starts the vehicle, causing her to race against her will. The race begins, and Noah threatens to beat her opponent. Her opponent tries to cheat by hitting her when she's winning, but it doesn't stop her, and she keeps going. Despite the hits, she goes faster and wins the race, surprising Nick. This almost starts a fight between Ronnie's gang and Nick's gang, who blame Nick for cheating. Noah rubs it in his face that she beat him. Nick, for disregarding the rules, has to give his opponent the keys to his car. Then he tells Nick not to let Noah out of the house next time, which annoys Nick, and a fight begins. Noah gets injured, and Nick tries to help her bandage it. The following morning, Noah is woken up by her mother, asking for her help as that day is her husband's company gala. Noah gets a call from a random number telling her that she should have kept her mouth shut. Jenna walks into the room as she tries to get her friend dressed. Noah shows her the message, and Jenna immediately concludes it's from Ronnie and advises her to block the number. Nick meets with his younger half-sister who worries that her mother would divorce her father just like she did to his father. He assures her she wouldn't. Soon, the couple and Noah leave for the gala. The kids return home. Nick talks to Noah about her driving before Noah asks him why he didn't attend the gala. He claims he was with someone who needed him most. She then comments saying she thought she was his only sister before apologizing for the car he'd lost in the race. He shuts her up saying it doesn't matter and kisses her. He finally says it isn't right as she's 17 and his stepsister, but she comments telling him to kiss her till she turns 18. Suddenly, he pushes her away and warns her not to let him kiss her again. Just then, Noah's mom walks in and blames him for not attending the gala. She tells him to go apologize to his father. Rafaela then focuses on her daughter, asking her why she didn't speak all night. The next morning, Nick goes out to find Noah washing one of the cars. He tries to go closer to her. She encourages him to watch her while she stylishly wets herself. Her mother drives in, and she immediately stops. Her mother says she has a surprise for her. The surprise turns out to be Dan. Her mother encourages them to kiss, but Noah tries to stop it. Dan is taken to his room while Nick watches everything. She immediately runs to Nick, telling him they have a problem. She'd sent a picture of them kissing to Dan, and if he recognizes Nick, he might report it to her mom. Just then, Dan walks out, and Noah pushes Nick into the pool. Dan apologizes for being a jerk. She tells him to leave immediately, but he says there are no flights available till the next day. He leaves, and she rushes into the pool to join Nick. He kisses her, but she warns that their parents mustn't find out. Dan sees this and realizes Nicholas was the guy from the picture. Her mother, noticing her daughter's behavior with Dan, asks her if she's found someone else, to which Noah denies. She delivers a bouquet of flowers from someone, and in the flowers, there's a note saying she'd pay for what she'd done. She gets annoyed and goes to meet Dan, asking why he could send something like that. He denied sending the flowers and asked if her mother knew about her and Nick. Meanwhile, Ronnie, still annoyed about the game, keeps sending threatening messages to Noah. He then sends one of his men to get her. At a party that night, Ronnie and his men drive Nick's car past him as they mock him. They then tell him to deliver a message to Noah. As Nick gets home, he finds Dan going into his room. He doesn't fuss about this but instead walks out. His face shows he's been beaten up. He finds Noah sleeping on the porch and touches her lightly, causing her to punch him. She immediately apologizes, saying she thought it was Dan. She sees the wounds on his face and immediately knows it's Ronnie's work. Nick tells her Ronnie is after her and warns not to go out alone. Noah tries to clean up the blood, but they almost end up making out again until Dan interrupts them. Noah tells Dan she would forgive him if he keeps what he'd seen to himself. The next day, Noah prepares for school. She gets a message saying she would be dealt with. As and Noah begin to spend more time with each other, Noah learns that Nick grew up without a mother. His father got his credit cards cancelled, and he met Lion, who introduced him to the gangster lifestyle. Soon, Nick gets another car for races. People start noticing Nick's and Noah's relationship and think it's incestuous. Nick takes her to a fight where he's one of the wrestlers. She tries to stop him from fighting, but he assures her he'll be fine. Nick begins the fight, and Noah leaves. Mario follows her out and tries to assure her it's all for fun. After Nick wins the match, he goes out to find Mario and Noah kissing and immediately pushes Mario. Ashamed, Mario leaves. Noah goes to confront her brother. He tells her he's crazy about her and has never felt jealous of anyone before. Noah breaks it off with Nick, but he doesn't agree. She tells him she's scared of him because she doesn't want a violent person in her life again. Nick releases her as she walks away from him. He begins to focus more on law while Noah tries to live her life, and the two grow distant. Noah, who has begun work in a restaurant, receives another threat note. Nick learns that Noah's dad had once tried to kill her with a knife and how her dad usually beat up her mom. He also learns that her father isn't dead like Noah had told him, but was sent to prison and was released weeks ago. He's then told to act as Noah's guide as her father wants to hurt her because her testimony was the key factor used in convicting him. Noah has no idea her father is out of prison because her mother didn't let her know, knowing fully well she's terrified of her father. Noah keeps attending parties without Nick, but she's monitored by a strange man. Noah gets drunk, and as she's leaving with Jenna, the strange man tries to come out of his car but is immediately stopped as Nick appears. Jenna tells Nick that Noah has been acting the way she is now because of him. Noah leaves them to go back into the party, claiming she forgot her blazer. She gets locked up in a closet and remembers her childhood memory where her father appeared to her in the closet, asking for her mom. Nick comes to her rescue and takes her home. At home, he asks her why she told him her father was dead. She replies that he's dead to her and hopes he rots in jail. He tries to talk to her about her dad but notices she's fallen asleep. The following day, Will walks in on his son and stepdaughter half naked on the bed. Nick tries to explain, but his father doesn't wish to listen. Instead, he tells him his youngest sister has been hospitalized. Nick rushes to the hospital to find his sister doing all right. Noah also follows him, and Maggie, his sister, immediately likes her. They drive home, but stop to kiss. Nick blames himself for starting everything and claims it hurts seeing her scared of him. The kids now know their parents know about their affair. Noah claims she doesn't want to hurt her mother, and doesn't want to ruin her new relationship, but Nick doesn't want what he has with Noah to end. Not long after, the couple has their first sex on the beach as they promise themselves not to forget it. They spend more time together as couples. While Nick goes to get something at a pharmacy, he leaves Noah alone in the car, causing her to get drugged and kidnapped by Ronnie. Nick realizes Noah is gone, and immediately his family calls the police. They're shown a footage, and Nick immediately recognizes Ronnie. Nick is warned not to touch Noah once she's found. His father shows disappointment in him, and Nick had already told them about all the parties they've attended. Meanwhile, Noah wakes up in the kidnapper's den. At first, she thinks it's Ronnie, but soon finds out it's her father. She immediately becomes terrified, and he reveals that he's been the one sending the letters to her. The police find the letters in her room. Just then, a strange number calls Rafaela. It turns out to be her ex-husband. He requests a ransom of $1 million and warns that they shouldn't get the police involved. Soon, it is revealed that Ronnie and her ex-husband shared a cell together. Ronnie is injured by Noah's father after learning she beat him in a race. As instructed, Rafaela and her husband take the money and wait at the designated spot where the money would be placed. Rafaela tells Will her ex doesn't care about the money but wants to see her and her daughter suffer. Rafaela's ex watches their every movement through a camera. Nick remembers the car that was taken from him still has an insurance tracker, and they use this to track Noah. Just then, Noah's father flees with Noah using the car, and the police go after them, as does Nick. Noah's father tries to shoot at Rafaela, but he misses. While driving, her father blames her for allowing him to go to jail, making him unable to drive. He begins to shoot at Nick. Noah finally drives to a dead end. He calls it the end of the race, but she doesn't stop. She drives close to Nick, allowing her father to get shot. The rest of the police go to find Ronnie tied up. Noah's father is shot, and he dies. Noah is safe, and Ronnie gets arrested. The family is reunited once again. Nick and Noah do not stop their romance. He sneaks into her room whenever their parents aren't watching them anymore, while their parents think they have to do something immediately to end the relationship. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. I would also appreciate a comment because it helps like you can't even imagine. It's a new channel and every bit of support counts.